appears there's some linked messages involving Representative Paul Gosar. Now, these leaked messages may implicate the congressman in a plot to create a riot in his home state of Arizona that was basically meant to block President Biden's victory in the state. Now, Arizona, of course, was an incredibly important state, instrumental in Joe Biden's victory. Now, Woodrow Johnston, and so understand there's a lot of players involved here, and I'm going to give you a bit of an abridged version here. And so I'm gonna talk about one guy, Woodrow Johnston, who is actually the vice president of a consultant group, political consultants, McShane LLC. So now Johnston was caught talking to a liberal activist. Now this liberal activist was posing as a Trump supporter. So this person's like, oh yeah, rah rah Trump, yeah, MAGA, MAGA 2020. And so this person gets into this group and gets into all their different like Telegram, conversations, and then links those messages to the Washington Post, which is fantastic. So now this undercover activist, which by the way, it's Pride Month. This activist is transgender. So, just kind of a nice little bonus on this. Liberal transgender activist outing the Proud Boys and possibly Paul Gosar in process. It's so sweet. Wonderful. So now, anyway, let me give you some of the details, right? So now, apparently, according to the messages, Gosar wanted to use the Proud Boys in order to disrupt the certification of the 2020 election in Arizona. In fact, Johnston had added in a message, apparently handed down from Gosar, quote, "We might need to do the same here in Nevada." Interesting. Now, why would you want to disrupt the certification of the election? Oh, right, it's because you lost. You don't actually believe in democracy. You want to invalidate the over 80 million people who voted for Joe Biden, and you're a whiny bitch that can't understand that your guy lost by 7 million votes. Which, by the way, if I were Trump, I wouldn't imagine the fucking day, right? Rough. Talk about rough living. But okay, if I were him, I'd be out there being like, I got more votes than Obama, 73 million. I made records. I was one of the greatest billionaire presidents ever. Look at I will forever go down in history. I mean, well, he will, as being impeached twice, being a one-term president. But hey, he got 73 million votes, so, I mean, that's one positive thing that he could brag about. But, of course, he uses that as part of his conspiracy. How come I lost when I got more votes than Obama? Because Joe Biden got more votes than both you and Obama. I know. Crazy, right? Imagine that. But anyway, so they're going to do some protests to disrupt the certification. Now, protests did happen. Now, the protests that Johnston organized ultimately remained peaceful and actually didn't disrupt the vote counting. So you might think, okay, fine. Well, the plan wasn't exactly to do that. The plan was to disrupt the certification so that Biden doesn't become president. All right. So now, again, if you're just going to do a normal protest, sure, you look like an ass, but hey, whatever. I believe in the First Amendment. Crazy, right? But if it goes like January 6th style, then obviously we're not in favor of that. So now, that said, Johnston's boss, Rory McShane, distanced himself and his consulting firm from efforts to organize these protests. In fact, he said, quote, "I was unaware of the texts, but I know Mr. Johnston was not working on behalf of any client or organization." Well, that you know of, but apparently working with Paul Gosar. In fact, he said, "Our management team has met with Mr. Johnston. I'm confident he sees the error of what they did." Now, again, I keep mentioning Gosar. What did he actually have to do with it? Well, in a thread with far-right activists in the liberal transgender activist posing as a right-winger, a woman by the name of Sarah Ashton Cirillo, mentioned Gozar. She said that who she said Johnston had told her was planning a Brooks Brothers riot to protest the election in Arizona. So now you might be thinking, what's the Brooks Brothers riot? What are you talking about? Well, apparently that took place 2 decades ago and was organized in Florida by Republican campaign operatives who successfully disrupted a recount in Miami-Dade County after the 2000 presidential election, ensuring that, of course, George W. Bush was able to win that county, win Florida, and ultimately the election. Now, on November 4th, the same day as Johnston's message, Gozar spoke at a crowd of protesters. Spoke to a crowd of protesters in Phoenix, declaring that we're not going to let this election be stolen, period, according to news reports at the time. Now, that's the same kind of rhetoric as Donald Trump, Rudy Giuliani, that inspired the January 6th insurrection. So now he did that, and now his office is like, whoa, he didn't actually do anything. No, he didn't go and plan this with the Proud Boys. Well, what are you talking about? Gozar Chief of Staff, Mr. Van Fleen, said the congressman did not speak to Johnston about a protest. He did speak highly of Johnston's boss. Rory McShane is an incredibly effective strategist. In a statement, he said, "It doesn't surprise me to see people trying to take him down." Oh, liberal plot. We're taking him down. Gozar's office also claimed that the congressman was not in contact with Johnston and denied coordinating any election-related protests. Again, protest is fine. Certification, disrupting that, not fine. But if it's just a protest, and you did talk about this, well, then why would you deny it? Like, no. Hey, yes, we organized a protest. A First Amendment. For what happened to freedom of speech. You liberals try to take away my freedom of speech. How dare you? All right, well, again, there were certainly plans to, unfortunately, try to disrupt the certification, even though it didn't actually happen. In fact, Ashton Cirillo was put in a position to help Johnston to recruit Proud Boys, another far-right activist, for the post-election protest. According to Telegram messages given by the Post, the day after the election, Johnston asked her to invite Proud Boys members and other far-right activists to a protest similar to the Brooks Brothers riot. About 6 hours before asking about the protest, Johnston had written to Ashton Cirillo that the GOP has hired us to help with the Nevada ballots. The GOP, the literal Republican Party. Interesting. Very interesting. Johnston and McShane had been working with McDonald and other Republican leaders out of a rented room in the Venetian casino, according to people familiar with the work. In a separate conversation with Proud Boy Matt Yankley, had talked about a need to step up efforts in the coming election cycle, saying that we've got to get an early jump on 2022. The real war is just beginning. To which, of course, the activist had encouraged him by saying, we win elections by embracing who we are and letting the voters decide. And of course, who Yankley is a Proud Boy. So Yankley had claimed in an interview that heads of the state party had asked him for help. Conveniently, though, nobody can seem to contact Yankley now. Interesting. Very interesting. Now, the state GOP also refused to comment to the Post about these leaked messages. So that is a very interesting story here. A lot of different players involved. But I would think that maybe that warrants a little bit of a look into what Paul Gosar was telling people, who he's having conversations with, and what he might have been planning, you know? Again, if you were planning on it being peaceful, well, then that shouldn't be a problem. Again, peaceful protest is protected here in America by the First Amendment. But if it's not peaceful, well, then you got a problem. And not only that, but reaching out to people like the Proud Boys, white nationalist groups who have employed violence in the past, well, again, problematic. And if you're caught, if you're caught with them, well, that's going to be a problem, as I said. And people are going to want to know about what you're talking about. Maybe Congress should look into Gozar. I mean, again, this is the guy that's so crazy, so pro-Trump, that his entire family said, maybe you shouldn't vote for him. So if he was planning to, disrupt any certifications, it'd be nice to know. It'd be nice to find out. We'll see what happens. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.